we're marching through the season right now, and we're through 6 weeks, going into week number 7. And to be honest, this is a time where predictions start to happen, and people start thinking about league championships and playoffs, and coaches are dealing with injuries and stuff, and it's a really tough time of the schedule. And we're going to get into talking about this with Josh Waring at St. Joe. After him will be Joe Wyant and the Gibsonburg Golden Bears, as it's Gibsonburg night tonight here at Frickers. That'll be from 7:15 to 7:45. At 7:45, Ryan Carter of the Clyde Flyers will be in to talk about their last contest and their game this week. Then Chad Long from Fremont Ross will wrap things up. I want to remind everybody that our broadcast schedule for this weekend is Fremont Ross is at Oregon Clay on Eagle 99 WFRO. I'll have the game of the Huron Tigers at Bellevue on 92.1 The Wolf. Clyde at Tiffin Columbian on WTTF and FM 93.3. And that shows at a 4 o'clock broadcast time, which means that's an early ball game. Yeah. So take note of that, everybody. Margaretta at Calvert at 7:30 to 8. So that's why Columbian and Calvert are playing a doubleheader at Frost Cal now. And then Sandusky at Norwalk on WLEC at 14:50 a.m., 93.5 FM, and Edison at Perkins on 100.9 Coast Country WMJK. So welcome to Frickers. Glad to be here. I've been on assignment. Couldn't be here on my regular shift, and glad to be back, and glad to have Josh Waring here. Josh, the St. Joe Crimson Streaks, just struggling to say a little bit. Of course, we knew that was going to happen this year because of a lot of factors, not just numbers, but just a lot of things have come into play. And you guys are looking at taking on the Woodmore Wildcats and Curtis Schlay's team. So both you guys looking for a win in conference play, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
That is correct.
So somebody's going to come out of here with a win, and somebody's going to be able to make that happen. And your game is here in Fremont, right?
Correct. Yep. On Friday night.
It would be really important for folks to come out to the stadium and help support the Streaks as they're looking for win number 1. They'd like to get it this week against Woodmore. Obviously, last week, for people that don't know, game got canceled, and that's a rarity. Correct. Generally, that's a weather-related issue, right?
Correct.
But it didn't happen this time. It was I don't know how you want to say it, an infirmary type situation where both squads caught issues, health issues, and had to cancel. And have you ever seen that happen in your career?
I have not. I mean, my small career, I've not seen anything. I never thought I'd have to cancel a game or be part of a game that was canceled due to an illness. But that's exactly what happened, and it all happened on Friday, morning, is when it started. And we had some kids that were sick during the week. But they came back, and then, I don't know if that virus goes up and down or what it does, but multiple, up to 8 kids were sent home on Friday with the virus. So it was, it was nerve-wracking.
So when you got 20 kids and 8 of them are out, now you're down to 12, it's awful difficult to play a football game.
Yeah, we're not going to do that. I'm not going to put the player safety. I'm not going to put them in harm's way.
Absolutely. Well, and Calvert had some of the same issues, correct? If I'm not mistaken.
That's possible. I know they had some illness. I know multiple schools. I don't know which ones, but I know in the area have had some, significant illnesses. And
so I think it combined, and so therefore it's kind of like, okay. Well, we talk about it every week, and I'm not sure what conversations you had with Tim, but I just want to tell you, as a St. Joe alum. Mm-hmm. Ex-player, and all the players and ex-alumni that I talk to, they feel for you. They feel for you because this is kind of like a no-win situation here with you guys, and you just don't have the numbers, and you don't even have enough kids to really get head-on hard practice going because you can't afford for anybody to get hurt. So it's kind of like playing 7-on-7 without contact, and I just think that's difficult in today's football game. It's difficult to get your team ready, and it's your offense. I mean, your defense obviously is consistently giving up a lot of points, but your offense that's really struggled this year.
Correct. One thing we have made an adjustment to at practice, don't rate anything into this, but we do
Right.
split the teams up evenly, and we'll play each other.
Okay.
You know, sometimes it's 8 versus 8, sometimes it's 9 versus 9, and we split them up as evenly as we can, and we'll run, a lot of our offense, and we'll run, a lot of the same techniques in defense as well, just so we have that live experience. We could be all Americans against air.
Right.
Everybody can.
Sure.
So it's to get a good look or our best look. That's what we've had to resort to.
And with that in mind, obviously, you're mixing a lot of young guys,
Oh yeah.
right? And so these young guys, it's been the case at St. Joe for the last handful of years that a lot of young guys are going to play early, take some lumps,
Correct.
and then if they can stay healthy and stay in the program long enough, generally their senior year they get to return the favor and thump a few other
Sure.
people, right?
That's the thought. I mean, like I've said before, there is light at the end of the tunnel. It's just a really long tunnel.
Right.
And so, attitude on the team's still great. I mean, leadership's really good. I mean, everybody's upbeat, and we had a great practice, this afternoon. So, we don't let I tell the kids, focus on the positives and don't worry about what we don't have or who we don't
Sure.
have, and just move forward.
Well, you do have to simplify it, right, to the point that
That freshmen can understand. No.
yeah, no, I just mean
I know.
simplify the concept that, hey, guys, it's not going to get us anywhere. Let's use the word complaining, even though they're not.
Sure.
And focusing on things that really are relative to ours is not going to change our situation. We need to focus on the things that we can control. Correct?
Exactly. In our playbook, there's sections controllables and uncontrollables. You have weathers, officials, the other team's size, all those things are uncontrollables.
Right.
We can control our attitude, our preparation, our intensity. And so that's what we focus on.
Sure. And so with that in mind, I mean, obviously you guys haven't got a win yet, but tell me a couple things that have gone on through this year that you say, listen, this is benchmarked forward. This has moved forward in this part of the game or this part of the scheme that we can see growth, even though we're still trying to get that first win.
Well, alignments, if you're not aligned properly, you number one, you're setting yourself up to fail. So alignment has been better. We have simplified some things on both sides of the ball, just to, so we can have a consistent,
Right.
understanding of what we're doing and, our execution of that. Execution's been good. Are they getting better? Yeah, they're getting better. We took a huge step forward from the Margaretta to the Willard game. Doesn't look like it on film,
Right.
but or on paper, but we are taking steps forward. I mean, some of the kids are starting to see the light, and they understand what they need to do, and what they're doing, incorrectly,
Right.
during our film study, and we are getting better. It doesn't look like it, but we are
Well,
making
you got to look at
progress.
incremental progress,
Correct.
right? And
Correct.
so how many plays, on the average, how many plays are there in a football game?
60, I would say, on offense.
Right.
That's basically, that's a number that has stuck
So
out.
about 120 plays,
Sure.
both sides. And so now your young players who are probably, and I'm saying this cautiously, potentially, depending on the numbers you have, probably not ready for action, but are in action because of necessity,
Correct.
because of their age only. They're now in a position where they've got, 5 games under their belt. And so that's 600 reps.
Sure.
And so at some point in time, they're going to start.
Yeah.
These things are going to start to happen, and it's the Friday Night Light activity is the only way to apply what you're trying to do, and you can't bypass that experience. I don't care how talented you are, you still have to play, right?
Correct. Yeah, you can't emulate game speed.
No.
And the the young kids, like I've said before, at any point in time we're going to have 6 sophomores and freshmen, combined on the field. And it'd only go up from there. So yeah, they're getting game reps, and it's the physicality that we've struggled with, and that makes sense because a lot of them are fresh. Some of them haven't grown into their bodies yet, or
Right.
vice versa, haven't really grown up per se, and haven't been through our strength and conditioning program for X number of years.
Yeah, don't have those 2 or 3 years under
Correct.
there where they build up stuff. I mean, I remember playing. I remember in the old days they threw
Yep.
us all on the bus. We were freshmen, and they'd kick us out the back door, and we'd have to take a senior on our back and walk him around the Anderson Field. And I'm sitting there thinking, I'm going to die. I'm going to die doing this. I was no way physically able to carry Dave Pfeiffer on my back all the way around, but I did. And, because of that, then he said, well, listen, I'm going to protect you and make sure nobody gets you this year. And so, you have to show a little bit of something. Well, showing up every game and showing up for every practice and going out there, that's building something internally, but you can't bypass the maturity of getting strong.
Yep.
And, people just running you over or are more quick because of the fact that they're just older and stronger.
Correct. I mean, it's hard to, you can't coach, size and
You
strength.
can't, no.
You
You
can't
can't.
coach it.
No.
And you can try to manipulate things to, for your situation. And we've done some of that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, but, especially this week, I think we match up very well, against Whitmore. The coach has done a very good job. I've watched them on film. And, they used to run a wishbone type of offense. And he's switched to the to a spread look, but they still want to run it. They're going to run it 90% of the time. And hopefully we're up for the game, and maybe some of that physicality will, come through from the young guys and give us a shot,
Well, sometimes emotions and it's a term I want to use, adrenaline
Sure.
can help you get past yourself a little bit.
It can.
So maybe, a negative play that turns into a positive or a fumble recovery or something it just kind of pulls everybody together. And when that happens, you get on the board, you score, and you look at each other like, hey, we can play this game. Then all of a sudden, that self-talk in your head kind of dissipates, and then you just get more to performing and doing what you need to do versus talking to yourself about, I got to go up against this guy another play. This guy's killing me out here. So it's just the way it is. You got to remember the kids.
I agreed, and I have to tell myself that a lot. One of the things I'm bad at is expecting them to understand things like I do.
Right.
And so I can, start calling different stuff. But that you have to take a step back and simplify things. So so that's one thing that I struggle with. But we're on the right path. It's just like I said, it takes time. It takes time to get the things done that we need to get done.
So have you seen different elements of the offense or defense that have surprised you? Like, okay, this is a solidifying point for us right now.
I have. I'm not gonna say it over there, but
fine.
We definitely, in our run game and our passing game, trying to get the ball to our playmakers. I mean, everybody wants to touch the ball, but to be consistent and to you talk about momentum.
Right.
I mean, we really need to just grind out a series, for a score. Big plays are great. We'll take it, but we're really that's our goal, and so we have simplified things to try to get to that point. And I'm very excited for the opportunity.
Well, week. Those nice long drives are good defense too.
Boy.
Because it keeps the other team off the field.
Sure.
And that happens at all levels, not just high school. I mean, that's all levels of football. So tell us what's your biggest challenge here with Woodmore. I mean, how do they match up with you guys size-wise, and how do you physically match up with them, and what's going to be your biggest challenge against them?
I think their team speed. I mean, they're fast, and they've got one very good-sized linebacker / running back. He does a very good job for them. I guess you would say he could be intimidating to some. They're fat. I think we're bigger up front. I think we should be able to get a push up front. But they're quick. They're very quick. And, all it takes is one guy to get around or miss a block or something like that to cause problems. So I think their team speed is going to be an issue, and we got to try to, force their hand. And I know they're going to load the box and just bring heat. We've got to be able to account for that. And we have to be prepared for that.
So defensively, you got to get 11 hats on the ball, right? Wherever it's at, we need everybody flying to the ball to be able to stop it because I mean, just think about it. I was thinking about the injury to Nick Chubb, and they're saying, well, that guy, he went at his leg. Well, he said, "You think I want to tackle him from the waist on up? The guy squats 700 pounds. He'll break me in half." And
Exactly.
and so you got to look at just what's the best way to try and make that happen. Well, we wish you the best. Hopefully, I haven't checked the weather, but hopefully it's good weather.
It sounds like it's going to be.
It's going to be good weather,
Yep.
and you guys are going to be at home.
Yes, sir.
And so let's see for you guys, how many more home games do you have?
3, I believe.
Oh, let's see. Right here you do. You've got, well, you're at Woodmore. At Hopewell.
Yep.
And you finished with Lakota and with Gibsonburg.
Correct.
So, it's a good way to end the year. Take a step forward and maybe hand a loss to Woodmore and let these guys feel a little bit of joy and excitement. They do deserve it.
They deserve
and just know the whole St. Joe family is behind you guys 100%.
We appreciate
no matter
that.
what happens.
Thank you.
All right, well, we appreciate you. Thanks so much for coming in, Coach. And we'll go ahead and take a timeout. That's Josh Waring at St. Joe. We'll take a timeout and get ready for Joe Wyant and the Gibsonburg Golden Bears. It's their night tonight, and you're listening to our Frickers High School Coaches Show live on Eagle 99. I give credit also to our studio engineer, Shelby Rice, part of the team here that brings this broadcast to you. And, of course, Joe, now we're live on YouTube, so people can actually see us, and neither one of us have a face for TV. So
No, I don't.
I know that I don't. I got asked years ago to do play-by-play for BCN up in Toledo, and I said, why would I do that? I said, first look at me. And then so the second thing is I don't want to drive to Toledo and do games at teams that, are not in my region or I'm not vested in, right?
Right.
So I turned that down years ago, but either way, I'm glad to have you here. Your football team's 2-4. You had a nice win last week against Woodmore. And we're in a position now where there's a lot going on for you. You've got Lakota, Willard, Margaretta, and then finish up with St. Joe. And your next few games, you've got through some of the tougher ones. Hopewell is undefeated. Edison's undefeated. Ottawa Hills 5-1. These are all teams that are really, really good. Division 6, one Edison Division 5. And I'm curious how you got that crossover game with them.
It wasn't by my choice.
Yeah.
The AD past AD, he decided to do it, and we got stuck with it, and we played maybe the best team in the Bay. I don't know. They'll find out this week, I guess.
Well, they, they've got
Perkins.
Perkins coming in. Well, I saw Perkins last week against Clyde, and I will say that they're probably the most complete football team that I've seen this year. I couldn't see anything about what they do that wasn't solid, So yeah, it's going to be a challenge for them. But the crossover games in the SBC, I know that when they set up the divisions, they were hoping for that, and I know that it was happening in a reluctant way. And now it's, there's a little bit more of it, especially with the Lake Division because they're behind the 8 ball. So, it is what it is. And, for you want to make sure your non-conference games, per se, for your league schedule are going to help you in the second season, right? And prepare you for your league schedule. So that is what it is. But you guys, a lot of good teams. I mean, every team that you played other than Woodmore had at least Seneca East is 3-3. Everybody else with a winning record in solidly. So you come out of there 2-4, and tell me this year's edition of the team. What is the one thing that you probably have been most surprised by, maybe, or has shored up and become a nice solid piece for your football team that potentially there was question about, or it just surprisingly came out this year?
Well, with the teams we played, we've had quite a few injuries.
Okay.
I got 2 knee injuries. Both of them should be out, but the one can't get. They're going to let him play even though he's blown his knee because he can't have surgery for a couple of months due to his age and his still growth plate.
Oh, gotcha.
But we've had a ton of injuries with the competition we played. You left out Calvert, who's 6-0
right.
also.
Yeah, they're 6-0, right.
And so our first 5 games were really good. We were very fortunate to beat Seneca East, who was supposed to challenge Cary and Colonel Crawford this year for their league. But what we got better, we've got better in our young kids. We only have 2 seniors that start.
Oh, really?
And one of them is here tonight, but he's out for the season with a knee. So we only have 2 seniors on team. We start 5 freshmen every game, and sometimes our sixth player coming in is another freshman. So we play a lot of young kids. We knew that coming in we might have to, but they've all got better. They work hard at it. We think we're going to be pretty good in another year or 2 with the playing time they're getting. So,
well, I was talking with Josh about it. The same situation they're in is that you don't want to force feed these kids, but out of necessity, you have to. In today's world, depending on how, every coach would like to have 15 players in each class, right? Well, it doesn't happen that way all the time, and so therefore you're in a position where some of these younger guys might have the speed or the size to play, but they're just not mature yet. So now we did a little math and figured out that they're at about, if they play both ways, they're at about 600 snaps by this time of the year, and if they play one way, they're at about 300 snaps, and so by now you're getting a little bit of an idea what you can count on or what you should expect, right?
Yeah, our kids work hard, and we've gotten better. So we can count on doing things. We probably do a little bit more things than we did in the beginning of the season because they've caught on to the concept. Our 2 seniors that start have done a great job being leaders. We got a nice junior class. At Gibsonburg, we like to only get 10 a class.
Right.
If we could get 10, we'd be pretty good. But the senior class, they only had 3 when they were in 8th grade.
Right.
Playing. So we really never lost anybody because of football over the years.
Right.
It's just a small class.
Mm-hmm. And it happens. And you have to play the deck of cards that you have in front of you, right? So, but the good news is these guys get the experience. So come sophomore year, their bodies mature a little bit more. They've been through it. By junior, senior year with these classes, or this junior, sophomore, and freshman class, they should be solid and should be good moving forward with the experience that they're getting, which primarily they might not as quickly as they are right now. So you're in a position where you've got a Lakota coming up and your good friend Mike Lento. They're in a position where they're just 3-3, so both you guys are fairly comparative on your records. And I know Mike. I used to do his games here in Fremont and his games in Tiffin, and and he always tries to get his teams competitive, and so you're in a position where you have to travel down there to take them on. So what's your biggest challenge with that Lakota Raider team
Well, right now they're on a pretty good high because they had a huge win last week.
against
But
Willard?
Willard, yeah, they played really well both sides of the ball, which gets a little scary. But he's a little bit in the same boat we got. I think he's up to 4 freshmen playing for him. I got 6 on offense right now, or 5 on offense to start. But he's young, and that too. But he's got some skilled people.
Right.
His skilled people are as good as a lot of other teams. They lack a little size on the line, but their kids play hard. But their skilled people are really good. Quarterback did a great job last week. They got 3 wide receivers that are really good. They got a running back that had a big week last week with almost 200 yards. So they're on a pretty good high right now. So we got to go in and try to be competitive and not let it get out of hand right away and not have turnovers.
So on a different topic, what's your thoughts and what's the feel around the league with the new alignment with the River Division and Woodmore coming in and Willard coming down and all that? Is everybody pretty happy with the fact that you've got, 7 league games? Is that what it is?
And counting us, there's 8 teams.
Yeah, there's 8
And
teams, so there's only 3 non-conference.
Yeah, that's real nice that we don't have to find somebody in the middle of the season anymore.
Right.
That part is really good. Woodmore coming in, that's a good fit, size-wise
They are a
and
good
everything.
fit. Mhm.
But Willard going down, they're a D5 school playing with us. I not real keen about that, but
Well,
it's
their
better.
enrollment's probably the biggest in the River,
by
right?
5.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're Division 5.
Right.
So most of us are, I guess we're probably about half and half between 6
and 7.
7.
Right.
But it is what it is. That's what they set it with. So, yeah, it's nice to have, 7 games in the league, and we play, and we don't have to find an odd team on an odd week.
Well, even just the cost. I mean, you're looking at cost of travel and like, the Lake Division, everybody's got to play the 3 or 4 games from Toledo opponents. And, Clyde had, Cardinal Mooney, and somebody else had, Bellevue or Perkins had some other big Cleveland school. So, I mean, it makes it hard. It makes it hard to deal with that. So I think there's value there. And the schools are all comparatively the same size, so that makes it good. Keys for you guys here then against Lakota. What would you like to see your team get accomplished to be able to go in there and get that win?
Well, we got to play good, solid defense, obviously, and not having a big play because Lakota had a lot of big plays last week.
Okay.
Throwing the ball. So we got to take away the big plays, and obviously we don't want turnovers. And we got to establish a run so we can throw a little bit.
Right. So you want to be able to control the clock a little bit
Yes.
more and control the amount of possessions that they get. At the same time, do enough running so you can play action as needed.
Yeah.
Sounds like a good game plan to me.
If it all
It's
works.
one that works.
But I'm sure they got theirs too.
Yeah, they surely do.
And Mike does a great job there.
He does. Well, I love the fact that there's a lot of parity in the division, and people don't realize that in Northwest Ohio, in the smaller school divisions, this is the hotbed here in Northwest Ohio with smaller schools. And you're going to get a state champ out of here. You're going to get a lot of teams making it down into the regional semis or regional finals, and it always happens that when you look at all the computer stuff that there's Northwest Ohio team, and so you guys are in a competitive situation. There's a lot there, and to be able to come out and play good, solid football, as Gibsonburg has such a good reputation for it says something about this area, and the coaches too. I mean, all the coaches really look out for each other and have mutual respect down the line, which makes it nice.
Yeah, we do. We get along really well in the league. And like I said, we got 2 of the top 5 teams in the district or in
Right.
our league with
Right.
Hopewell and Calvert right
Yeah,
now.
Hopewell and Calvert, right?
go along with Macombs and
Yeah.
LCC and
Right.
Antwerp. And they got some good football.
Yeah, there's good football. All right, so, folks, if you're not doing anything, get out to Lakota and watch these two teams tied up. We're going to take a break, and we're going to get a couple players in here and talk to them. And we won't say anything to them, Coach, that'll put them on the spot, but we'll get enough out of them, hopefully a little bit more than a yes or a no.
Okay.
And we'll do our best with them. All right, we're going to take a time out here, and we'll be back with the players from Gibsonburg. It's Gibsonburg night here tonight at Frickers, and we'll be back after this timeout. You're listening to Frickers High School Coaches Show live tonight on Eagle 99. That feels like, right? Anything you don't want to talk about? All right, cool. Welcome back to Frickers. It is our high school coaches show, and it is Gibsonburg night, which means we have Golden Bears in the house. And we've got a great chance to talk to some athletes and part of the Gibsonburg tradition. So season's over.
Yeah, it is.
It is. I'm really sorry to hear that.
It's all right.
Well, it happens, right?
Yep.
It happens. And we've got Spencer Wagaman, defensive end, backup fullback, and Camden Mooney, quarterback, strong safety, junior. So you guys have two more shots at this, right?
Yep.
So it's going to be your responsibility to take what happens this year and throw it into the guys for next year so that they can move the needle forward for your team. So you guys are 2-4, and right now I've got Cole and I got Cole and Camden on the mic. We'll get Spencer in here in a minute. So Cole, I don't know if you're at liberty to talk about your injury or not, but this happened last week, and you guys were playing in the win against Woodmore.
Yep. It's an injury that I've had last year and brought it back to this year.
Oh, okay.
I dislocated my kneecap, so it just went in for a tackle, and my knee buckled, and it popped out. I was able to it was able to go back in, and then I was done. I knew I was done because I had been last year at the last season or the last game of our year. So, I mean, it was a rough one to realize that your season's over, but
Right.
it's not over for my team, so I can still help out as
Sure.
much as I can.
Sure, you're one of the leaders, right?
Yep.
And you guys only have a couple seniors on the squad, right? And who's the other senior besides you?
The other senior is Sam Hansen. He's our left guard or right guard, I don't remember.
Both depends.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's going to play wherever he has
Yep.
to. He plays on the line. So you guys have a small number class. So these guys, and I'm talking about Spencer and Camden, they're counting on you guys to kind of set the tone, right?
Yep.
So how can you see yourself helping the team moving forward? I mean, obviously, you're a wing back and a free safety, so you can help You can help see what's going on in the field and
Yeah.
help coach the guys, but well, you know these guys better than anybody.
Yeah.
You feel you're at a liberty now where you can, I'm not gonna say get in their face, but you can say, hey, listen,
Yeah.
you only have so many games in your career.
Yeah.
This is what we need to do. I mean, I think you have the liberty and you have earned the right to do that, right?
Yeah, last year when I had my injury, it happened actually in 2 days. My first time it happened, so I was out for the first 7 games of the season. So during those games, I'd have an iPad, I'd watch the plays happen, and then if some of the guys in the secondary, because that's where I'm at, messed up, I could tell Coach Owens, my dad, what happened to see if he can tell them, because most of the time these guys play on the field both ways, so
Right.
they're never on the sideline to help out. So maybe I can try to yell to them before, in between snaps, so they know what to do or anything, because there's not
Or
many
during
coaches-
timeouts or whatever. At least give them that extra viewpoint.
Mhm.
Yeah, because it's when you're in the game, you know what it's like.
Yep.
Everything happens so fast. It's not like I don't really have time to think. I just need to play, right? And the more you can do that, the faster you can play.
Yep.
Now, if you have to start to think, but if somebody says, listen, that tight end keeps sliding across the middle, you can know, okay, I'm going to keep an eye on that guy so that you can then be ready for something that happens. So you have a dubious honor to be able to do that here, and you guys got what, 4 games left, right?
Yep.
So you can be a huge asset being the eyes and ears for those guys.
Mhm.
So we're sorry to hear that kneecap just doesn't want to work for you.
Nope.
Well, just remember, you need that kneecap the rest of your life.
Yeah.
So, whatever it takes to make that thing work, that's good. So we're glad to have you. So, and then tell me, Camden, you're a junior, and did you quarterback last year?
Yes, I did.
Okay, because I think I interviewed you last year. So, tell me, what about the offense is the one thing that, if you got a chance to call the plays, you're not getting a chance to call the plays, right?
Not.
If you got a chance to call the plays, and what concepts are the ones that you feel like, hey, listen, we've got this figured out. I know we can run this. I know we can gain 5 yards.
I mean, normally like our belly play like that, all the guys really know that it's our bread and butter play. Every day in practice, we
Just
run
run.
it multiple times.
Right.
Like, no matter what way we're blocking it against multiple defenses, out of many formations. I mean, it's just a play we know real well. So
Right.
definitely something we can always look back to.
Because, you're going to look at the coach in a tough situation. You're going to anticipate, okay, what are we going to run here? They might come to you, say how you feel. Did they ever ask you, what are you seeing out there, or what do you think's working? Or?
Yeah, sometimes coach is wondering, like, is this guy coming down, or where
Yeah.
they're slanting, which play, doing whatever, where they're going, where the linebacker's headed.
Well, and their job is also, the coaches, is from upstairs to look and say, is your guard pulling at the right time? Or, when you're trying to run the football, everybody has to move it as one, right?
Yeah.
And when they move as one, you've got a good chance. When somebody's a little late,
Yeah.
it's not so good. And all of a sudden, you don't get a yard or whatever, and you're in situations where you're trying to win football games. You need to know, hey, listen, at this point in time, we need these 2 yards. We need to make this happen. Everybody's got to do their job.
Yeah.
So you're in that position, but you also play strong safety too. So tell me about the passing game. How's that work for you? I know your coach pretty well, and he wants to be a run first, develop line of scrimmage type program, so it opens up
Yeah.
the play action. Have you seen strides made this year with that, with your play action?
Yeah, I definitely have. Like, the first 2 or 3 games, it was kind of rough here and there. We were kind of cautious about passing it because we just weren't too ready for things yet. But the past few weeks, we've been starting to open it up a little bit more. And we've been practicing more, and we're getting there. We're really coming along in the games. We've definitely been throwing the ball quite a bit more.
Well, you did
than we
last
did.
week, right? You
Yeah,
did well
last
with it
week.
last
And
week.
then against Calvert, we threw quite a
Yeah.
bit more than we normally do.
Well, Calvert makes people do that because of the way they're. But, I mean, you scored 25 points against them. They're an undefeated team. So that says something. It's a little bit all about confidence, too, right?
Yeah, definitely.
If he looks at you and says, okay, let's run this play, and you're going, oh, man, I'm not so sure about this. Confidence means everything. It's kind of like they're talking online, and everybody nationally is talking about the Cleveland Browns defense. I don't know if you follow them or not.
Yeah.
But, I mean, their defense is like playing exceptionally well. And all the pro pundits, and I don't listen to those guys because they all think they know better than everybody else. But the one thing that's consistent is they're all saying that they're playing with such a level of confidence that's what's allowing them to play fast. It's like we're confident about that. So I think that's a key point, right? And that's
Yeah.
something that makes sense is schemes and defensively and whatever. If you had a choice, Camden and Coach Camden said, "Listen, I'm going to only play you one side of the ball. Which one would you pick?"
Well,
And
that's a tough one.
It
I
is
mean,
tough because I played both positions myself, just like you.
Yeah. I mean, I like playing quarterback. I mean, in a wing tee, it's obviously not the most fun. I mean, not going out there and looking like Patrick
No.
Mahomes every game. I mean,
Well, not too many people can.
no. I mean, I'm a system guy, role player on the
Right.
offense, but I mean, I definitely do like defense a lot.
Mhm.
I mean, I feel like I play a bigger part on the defense sometimes. I mean, I'm in there on tackles or I'm dropping into coverage, doing whatever.
Right.
I feel like I'm more important on the defense side because offense, I think most people with some training could be a wing tee quarterback.
Well, if in this case, but you got to remember the wing tee to work right. It's all about timing,
Yeah, definitely.
and you're the mailman.
Mhm,
You're the
yeah.
one who's delivering the ball where it has to go. So these guys are countering back. You've got to be able to manipulate through things and get the ball to them. So don't cut yourself too short on that, because the bottom line is winning.
Yeah, definitely.
Is winning, and you might not have the stats that you'd like, or compared to maybe some friends or people you know from other schools, but that's a relative. If you're doing your job, it's kind of like everybody has to do their job. So we're gonna have one of you guys take your headset off and give one over to Spencer. We got to talk to him, and we're gonna have Cole. Not that he's retired for the year, but we're gonna bring in Spencer Wagaman. So what was your brother's name that was on the team last year?
Camden Wagaman.
Okay, so I was explaining to him that I know this family pretty well, and I'm sure you're a lot better football player than your pop might have been. I don't even think that he played, did he?
Yeah, I'm definitely a better football player.
I think he liked to hunt more than anything, so it's all good. So, Spencer, you're a DN, backup fullback. You're a junior. Coach told me with you and Camden, you guys are kind of responsible to help carry the badge forward. What's the one thing that you think you guys are learning this year that maybe you didn't have last year? You were sophomores. Now you're juniors. What are you gaining in experience that you think we can really build off of? And I'll go to you first because we haven't talked to you yet.
I definitely think that we gained a lot of experience from last year, and we just have a lot of.
I don't want to put you on the spot, but I mean, in reference to experience, look at it this way. You're a sophomore. Did you play DN last year? Did you play
yeah.
much at all?
Played like half the games. Probably.
Okay, so a little bit different when you're a sophomore and some 6'3", 225-pound dude comes running at you and wants to pancake you. It's a little different than being a junior and being the size you are right now and being able to return the favor. See, that to me was always a nice part about moving through the system. Somebody's going to get me. I remember one time I got hit so hard I went into the huddle and I didn't even know where I was. And of course they didn't have concussion protocol back then. So what are we going to play? I said, what do you mean what we're going to play? Well, what play we're going to run? I said, I don't know. What play? I was like, whistling birds. And so the next year, obviously, you're like, okay, now I'm going to return the favor, and I'm going to light somebody up. And so you kind of get to return that and build through there. So tell me about the sophomore class, and how do you see them this year, knowing that's where you were last year? How do you see them? Are they starting to step up a little bit? Are you feeling them kind of help get part of the program, either one of you guys?
They definitely fill a lot of roles on the team. Definitely a lot more roles than we had to fill last year.
So in this case, because you have a small senior class, they're having to get a little bit. We get a little more baptism by fire, I guess is the best way.
Yeah.
So for you guys, the best thing for you is to put your arm around them when they get lit up and say, "Hey, listen, that happened to me too many times. You get to pay that back, and just help them work through that, because there's nothing like playing football on a Friday night.
Yeah.
And you know, when something good's happened, there's nothing better. When something's bad happened, there's nothing worse, because you're like, oh darn it, you know. But that's what makes it so much fun. Well, we love your program, we love your coach, and everything about it. We've been big supporters of Gibsonburg sports for all the years, and we're glad that you guys could come here tonight and everything could be good. So just make sure that you go out here, stay healthy, and you guys got Lakota, and that's a little bit of a rivalry game. So go down there, and you're at Lakota, right? So let them Raiders know that you're ready to play, and I hope Mike Leno's listening to me because, Mike, these guys are coming for you. So we're going to see what happens between you guys and Lakota, and then you'll start working through the last 3 games of the year. So thanks, guys. And again, Camden Mooney, Spencer Wagerman, and Cole Owens all here, along with their head coach, Joe Wyant. And we are now going to move forward, and we'll bring in Ryan Carter Clyde after this. But you have been listening to our Fremont Frickers High School Coaches Show here live tonight on Eagle 9. Teams right behind them, but Oak Harbor on a roll at 6-0. And so,
They joined a new conference?
huh?
They joined a new conference?
Oak Harbor.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Well, it's not a new conference.
That's right.
It's new for them.
I forgot.
Well, they used to be there.
Oh,
They were there and came back.
yeah, that's what I heard.
It's one of the. It's one of those. When did you leave me again? Okay. So Ryan, last week you probably played what I would consider the most complete football team I've seen this year, and that is in the Perkins Pirates. They had size, they had speed, they moved the ball well, they were great on defense. Special teams were good. They got a kicker, and that all matters, especially as you get into tougher games and closer matchups. But your thoughts on how your kids played against Perkins?
You know, JC, I was talking this week to a couple of different media outlets, and I'm going to be honest with you, man. Our kids played extremely hard. I thought we gave it everything we had. We turned the ball over a few times early on in that game that really, set them up to get ahead and kind of do what they wanted to do. We never put any pressure on them. But our kids did not back down. That's a good football team, man.
They're solid. There's no doubt about it.
I don't want to say too much as far as where they can be when the season's over, but there's not a lot of holes in that football team.
No.
And we, I take pride in the fact that my staff can find things that we can exploit, and we just couldn't. We have a couple of guys out that are hurting us a little bit on both sides of the ball, but we battled. I was proud of our kids, but you're never happy when you end up with a loss like that. So it's something you learn from. You move on. It doesn't get any easier this week. You roll and play Tiffin, who's just as prolific offensively. But I tell you what, that's a good football team. It'll be fun to see where they end up. You got Glenville in their region, who won state last year, which you almost want to turn around and say that's too bad for Perkins that Glenville's in your region. But I tell you what, the team I watched this weekend can play with anybody. So
that was
it
my
is
thought.
what it is.
That was my thought as I evaluated and looking there and go, okay, what is the area that they're lax at? Well, to them, and to your credit, they had a short field most of the night.
They did.
So you're talking about 50-yard drives. They're not far from midfield, and so it didn't.
I don't know that it mattered though, JC. They were going to go 80 or 50.
Well,
it just took a little less time.
Yeah, it took a little less time. But on your side, though, when your guys came in the second half and had a nice long drive and went down and punched in, I was just so proud of the effort because I don't know how many teams have done that to them this year. Now, it's not a moral victory, but it's the truth.
It is, and there's no moral victories in our program, JC.
None.
You know that. You know that. We lost. We got our butts kicked, and we're going to regroup and go back at it this week. But that does not take away from the fact that I was proud of our kids. They battled, gave us everything they had. We grew from it, I think, and we'll find out this week how much we grew from it. I'm not saying that's going to be a win or a loss. We got to go to Tiffin. That's a different beast over there.
It is.
But you know what? It's high school football. Our kids are giving us everything they have. And at the end of the day, that's what you want.
And for fans, this is a doubleheader in Tiffin, correct?
It is.
So you guys have your kickoffs at what?
4:30.
At 4:30.
4:30 in the afternoon.
So this is kind of like the old.
Got a matinee.
These are kind of like the old days when I played at St. Joe. We had some Sunday games,
Yeah.
and it's like it was weird.
Yeah.
Let's just put it that way. You're used to a certain rhythm, and
Sure. And
now you're playing in the afternoon.
That's what I've told our kids all week is, we're gonna have to embrace it and we're gonna have to go with it. It's not anything that, for people that don't know, it's not anything that Clyde did. It's not anything that we scheduled wrong. It's not anything that happened.
No.
It is a Tiffin scheduling conflict, and this is where we were. We had tried to set up some things at different venues or whatever. It just didn't work out. So this is where we're at. So our kids are getting out of school early. So we're portraying that image of, hey guys, let's take advantage of we're getting out of school early. And we have a fortunate setup. So it is what it is. We're going to get ourselves ready to go on Friday and try to go over there and battle as much as we can.
And it'll be different for them too.
Absolutely. It's a little bit different for the road team. You got to get out a little bit earlier to get moving. But it's the same thing. They got to get out of school and come get dressed and get ready to play too. So It'll be different for everybody. It's going to be who embraces the moment more and who is where their feet are, and you got to go with it from there.
So your thoughts about that Sandusky Columbian game from last week? We were tracking it, and I'm thinking whoever's got the ball last is going to win this.
JC,
is that what happened?
I watched that game a bunch. I mean, I'm talking probably 10 times this week. Sandusky is a much improved. You got to give Coach Pajali a ton of credit. They are a much improved football team, and they had that game at least going into overtime, or they're having the last possession. And they had a couple of unfortunate turnovers in the fourth quarter that led to some scores from Tiffin. And then they had what just amounts to a bad break on a punt that went backwards. It would have been their ball on the 30 going in with about 3 minutes to go. Instead, it was Tiffin's ball on Sandusky's 30 going in, and they scored the game-winning touchdown.
Right.
Sandusky drove it right back down, to their credit, with not much time left. And you get in those situations, and it's rushed. They spiked it on fourth down.
Oh.
Yeah, they had a play left to end the game, and they were rushing the line of scrimmage, and you kind of forget what down it is. I've been there.
Yeah.
I've had kids do that. It is what it is. And they spiked it to try to kill the clock, and it was on fourth down. So that's the way the game ended. But I tell you what.
I'm sure Columbia was happy to get out there with the
they
win.
were. I tell you what, they were.
Because Sandusky, I know. I've talked to coaches, and Sandusky is, well, they're 3-3 right now, but they're a pretty darn good 3-3 football team.
You look at who they've lost to and how they've lost. They're pretty good 3-3.
Absolutely.
Yep.
All right, so that's what's going on this weekend. You guys got Columbian, then Sandusky, then here in the Norwalk. So it's not going to be easy anyway out the chute. A couple of your guys that are injured, is there any chance of getting some of them back at all? Or not?
JC, I don't think so. We have a multitude of kids that are banged up right now, that are out. We got some that are definite done for the year.
Right.
We got others that are questionable. I don't like to talk about injuries. I've been down this road, but I think our kids that have stepped in have really, really grown from it. They have played good football. We're just lacking in a little bit of depth at each position, and that has hurt us. That has hurt us a little bit. But I told the kids this week, JC, right? We're 4-2. And you feel like the world's coming to an end at Clyde.
Yeah, if you're 4-2, I know.
You just do. You feel like, you don't have any answers. You don't have any way to turn. You're trying to get stuff done in practice, and you have limited kids that are banged up that are trying to rehab and get back. But our kids are battling, man. We got to get a couple here coming down the stretch. We'll get as many as we possibly can and see where we end up and go from there, because our schedule's great from here on out. You go Tiffin, Norwalk, Sandusky is playing well. Huron is a very good football team, and Norwalk is very, very dangerous with the kids they have. So I'm proud of our kids. We got to finish a little bit better. We got to get a little bit better on both sides of the ball and special teams, but our kids show up every day, JC, and ready to go, and that makes me proud as a coach.
Well, I thought is that drive, there's not a lot of teams that are going to score against Perkins, and that drive for that score on the ground, I think, was a statement to the rest of your guys. And everybody in the stands like, okay, listen, you scored against this team. This team is exceptionally good. I wouldn't doubt that they make a pretty solid run in the second season. But we'll see. Of course,
you would think,
you've got to have health and maintain health and all that too.
That's part of being a good football team. I say this all the time. It's part of being a good player, and it's part of being a good football team is staying healthy.
Right.
And you can be a very good football team, but if you have injuries in high school, you just don't have that depth to bring in player after player after player and reload.
And you're not platoon, and then you're not just you're playing defense, you're playing offense. You got so many guys playing both ways. So I'm going to end up on a baseball note talking about injuries. Your thoughts about Tarek Francona coaching his last game in Cleveland tonight, as they're up 4-1 against Cincinnati, and 11 seasons. Has coached through a lot of tough physical challenges for him, but I think has had a pretty storied career there. Your thoughts about that as a coach?
Tito's about as good as they come. I've been to some of those games, and I've watched a lot of them on TV at night when my kids finally go to bed, and me and my wife can sit and watch a little bit. And, he is about as stoic and about as respected as I have seen. Those guys are professionals that make a lot more money than he does.
Yeah.
And they respect him. They look at him, and at the end of the day, a coach is a coach, JC.
Right.
And when he has the respect of professional baseball players, you have a respect as a coach for that fellow coach because you know that he's did things right the whole way through.
Well, they're a mid-market team, and they don't have the budget,
No.
and he's always what I like most about him, and I'm saying this because I think this doesn't happen all the time, that he has been an X factor for that franchise, and the fact that he always wants to play the game the right way.
Yeah.
And so when you play the game the right way, and you learn to win the right way, and what they've done there and what he's done, much credit to him. And
John,
and that parlays down in the high school levels the
right.
same way.
You're right. And you know what, John? There's not a lot of people that do it that way anymore.
No.
There's just not.
No.
And, our profession is tough.
It
but,
is.
when you see stuff like that, you have a good respect for it.
Well, that's part of the coaching career that you've chosen, and all of our coaches, and whatever level you're playing at, you still have that same responsibility, and you get the most out of your players. Somebody asked me about you guys the other day. I said, I don't care how many players are coming on Clyde. By mid-year, there's going to be players that are playing football that the jury was out, what will they be? And Clyde always has the ability to get guys moving forward, and that's really a tribute to you and your coaching staff. So
I appreciate that.
So have a good week. They've got us, Huron and Bellevue this weekend, so I've got an idea what's going on there, and then I think we have you the rest of the way.
Sounds good.
All right, well, take care,
Thanks,
Ryan
Jason.
Carter, and we'll
Appreciate
take a
it, buddy.
time out. We'll get back here with Chad Long at Fremont Ross. You're listening to the Frickers High School Coaches Show live here tonight at Frickers on Eagle 99. And welcome back for our final segment here on our High School Coaches Show. John Cullen, I'm your host, in case you haven't figured that out, and glad to be here. I've been on assignment and have been gone, and glad to be back in the saddle with my good friend Chad Long, head football coach at Fremont Ross. So, everybody's asking, what's wrong with the Fremont Ross program? And I think we should talk about what's right with it first. I mean, obviously, you guys have struggled. You've lost some close games. and haven't quite been able to get all three phases of the game to be in sync. But let's talk about, as you came into the season, you're replacing an all-state quarterback, a lot of good players, and I'm sure you weren't 100% sure what we have to work with. So how has that played out for you to this point in the season?
I mean, coming in, us as coaches, we believe, we lost a lot of players, but we had a lot of kids that we expected to step up and perform. I mean, we coach the young kids just as well as we coach the varsity kids. So,
Right.
Coming in, we believed we were going to be still a good team, 7-3 or something like that. And unfortunately, turnovers has really killed us as a football team, as well as giving up big plays on the defensive side. And that's been the issue basically this entire year.
So by big plays, are we talking through the air, through the ground, or both?
Oh, through the air, for sure.
Primarily the defensive
primarily
backfield?
through the air, broken coverages, or just plays given up. And we actually thought the strength of our defense would have been obviously D-line,
Right.
but the secondary. I mean, we lose both of our linebackers, and Mason Valerio, who is third team All-Ohio, and Braden Goon. And here we are, Ryan Hottinger has filled in very good at the linebacker position, and our D-line has played up to their expectations that we believe they could. And I think our secondary is just right now is the issue all around.
So how do you've gotten, and we did some calculations earlier, that if you've played one side of the ball, you've gotten at least 300 snaps in so far this year, roughly.
Yeah.
About 60 plays a game, depending on the type of offense or defense.
Yeah.
And you're, and 6 games. So, over maybe 360. So how do you evaluate the difference between somebody who's young and just needs a Friday night experience versus, maybe the play calling in the back or just a communication breakdown? How do you fix that? Because Lord knows on the professional level, Cleveland couldn't fix it last year, and now they have, right? But how do you do that? Because I think fans, they look at things point blank like it's a whitewash. Well, this is this and this is that. Well, that's not exactly how it works.
Well, I mean, you have who you have.
Right.
And, we just got to continue coaching up these kids. Listen, there are some kids, all coaches who know this, there are some kids who can play on Friday nights, and there's some kids who can play on Saturdays.
Right.
Okay, there's a big difference. The kid
Absolutely.
may be doing very well on a Saturday. Do we look at them? Yes. We evaluate our kids every week to try putting our kids in the best position to win. And, some of that doesn't – there's a different style of coaching that's occurring. There's a lot of checks and so forth on Friday nights than it's not on Saturdays.
Right.
And I don't think many spectators realize that we're coaching these kids every day. We see these kids every day. And
you've
we
seen them
know,
the whole time they've been in the program.
Yes, and we know the kids that want to get out there for scout team and practice to get better,
Right.
and the kids that don't. So I really don't care what the fans say.
Right.
That I don't care. We as coaches are trying to put our team, it's all about the team,
Right.
in perspective to give us the best chance to win.
Mm-hmm.
And we need wins now.
Well, you guys have been your margin of loss has been about 3 scores on the average, about 20 points a game.
Yeah.
So, take away the turnovers. Where does that put you?
Well,
Because turnovers do 2 things. They spur the opponent and give them energy, and give them mental, emotional advantage. The other side, a turnover can deflate a player, and they're high school kids, and they get deflated. So, where would that be if some of those turnovers didn't happen?
Or we'd be in a whole different ballgame.
Right.
You can't have 17 turnovers. That's almost 3 turnovers a game.
Right.
The one time in which we didn't have any turnovers, that was against Sandusky, and we beat Sandusky.
Right, and they're a good football team.
And you talk about the mental aspect. You're talking field positions. You're talking a lot of different capacity of things. And at the beginning of the year, it was punt team. getting things blocked.
Right.
And some turnovers on the offensive side and so forth. I mean, that changes the whole complexity of a ball game. It's we're dealing with young kids here. We're trying to fight through some of this adversity, and I was very, very disappointed in our effort and our pride of our kids, not in the first 5 games, but in the last game.
Right.
And,
Napoleon.
yes, and so the kids had a rude awakening this entire week, and how we as coaches have challenged the kids. There was no clear starter this week, and we made it very clear to the kids that whoever wants to step up and play, that's what's going to happen, and you'll probably see some of those different changes on Friday.
So you're going to see some kids that didn't answer the bell and some kids that decided to.
Yep.
Well, isn't that part of it? I mean, if I'm a parent and I got a kid that's playing, I always think about or remember the Titans, and you've got the one Allen, the one defensive back, who he's just getting burnt, and he tells his coach, "I'm getting burnt out there," and the coach says, "Well, go sit down," and they bring another guy in, and just at some point in time, you have to deal with reality.
Yeah.
Right, and parents don't like that. And I'm not speaking against parents. I'm just saying, as an outsider, they might go, "What the heck are you doing?" But you'd rather have a kid who's maybe a little more not as experienced, but is giving you 110% out on the field than somebody who's kind of not.
Well, I mean, I look at it this way. I'm paid to win.
Right.
And I don't care about feelings as far as parents. I don't care about shaking the tree to find players.
Right.
And, loyalty only goes so far, and then it's about winning. And right now we need a win. And what has happened, if parents are happy about being, 1-5?
Right.
Then shame on them, because this is unacceptable. And, we as a coaching staff, we put in a lot of time and effort each week, even on Sundays, Saturdays, Fridays, to come away, and we believe we have a very good game plan, and we want to win, and it's not happening. So if parents are happy that their kid's playing and being on a 1-5 team, shame on them, because they should want more for
Well,
their kids.
the whole thing about sports, too, is, and I always looked at it this way, one is for a kid to learn how to be part of a team, to learn how to win together, learn how to lose together. 2 is learn how to overcome adversity, because if you can overcome adversity in the ultimate team sport like football, it's going to really help you further in life. Because adversity is around every freaking corner. It's just a matter of
absolutely
when it's going to happen.
Absolutely.
But the unknown thing is having heart.
Yeah.
And when you have heart, you can take a bunch of 3-star athletes that have a lot of heart and beat teams with a lot of 5-star athletes just because they're connected, right?
100%.
And so you're looking for that. So tell me, what are you going to run into with Clay this week?
Oh, it starts all.
They're 3-3, right?
They're 3-3.
Are you playing there?
Yeah, we're there.
You're there, okay.
Yeah, they got a quarterback that's just phenomenal.
Right.
He has 2 offers from Toledo and Akron. Montgomery's good,
right?
But he can't scramble like this kid and keep a play alive like this kid does. So we have really dug into the playbook on getting pressure at this kid, because we have had to deal with this kid. He's only a junior. And since his freshman year, I think we missed like 20 possible sacks we should have had on him. And then last year, I think we missed like 12 sacks. And so now we're revamping and thinking over the last 2 games, how can we handle playing this kid? And we're going to put more speed on the field and attack him a different way. And, their whole offense is predicated off of scramble drill.
Yeah, so
they run their routes, but they automatically know.
They already know. And after so much time, I'm cutting back and left.
And it is so hard. And we've been working on it all week, and it's tough, man. Kids think, he's going to be sacked. No, he's not. And here he goes.
And you let go for a minute, and the guy's got 5 yards by you, and he gets the ball.
Yep.
So is the goal to keep him in the pocket?
Well, yeah. Keep him in the pocket and get pressure and try bringing him down. He does such an excellent job spinning out of things and Then he throws the ball. His eyes are always down the field. He just has a good sense of pocket awareness, and it's all predicated off of that
Right.
quarterback and, trying to keep guys deep enough and pick up guys when they go in their scramble mode.
Well, it's tough being a coach when things are good sometimes because there's a lot – you just got to manage a lot differently. And there's I'm watching Tito Francona right now. They did a tribute to him, and he came out in the field because this is his last game as a coach
Yeah.
for Cleveland. What a job he's done for that organization. And they're doing a tribute, and he had enough, and he was doing the cut it sign, cut it. I don't want to see no more of it.
Yeah.
Don't make me cry because I'm ending my time in Cleveland. But as a coach, whether you're at the high school level or the professional level, getting your teams to believe you and get the most out of your team is what's really most important.
Yeah.
And that way you can walk away and say, listen, with what we had, the amount of bullets we had in the gun, we shot as clearly as we could and we did as good as we can. And
Yeah.
so now you got this going on. You guys are in a position where you could get a string of wins moving forward if the team can pull together.
Well,
Let's hope maybe going on the road helps with that.
Yeah, I mean, this is a big game. Clay sits 7th in our region at 3-3.
Right.
And, there's quite a few points that are out there. And then knowing next week, and I never look ahead, but next week being Southview, who is another tough, I think they're projected to win our division in the Cardinal division.
Right.
They're sitting 10th in the region
Right.
as well. So there's some points out there
Right.
we can definitely get, but we have to go week to week, and we need not to look at the opponent, but we need to look at ourselves and
Right.
and make sure we're doing everything we can to get better as a
Right.
team.
Well, you started your division play last week with Napoleon. Now
Yep.
you've got Clay, Southview, and you have Waite in the middle of that, and
Yeah.
then you've got Bowling Green.
Yep.
Well, we appreciate you taking the time to come out. I mean, hate to say it, folks, but these guys don't get paid to come out on the radio. They might get some free food, but that's about it.
Yeah.
And it's a long day for you, but we appreciate you coming, and I wish you the best of luck moving forward.
Thank you.
As always, and we didn't get a chance to talk about the Browns, but
Yeah.
maybe good things are on the horizon up there at the lake. I don't know.
I hope so. They look good right now.
Well, they remind me of the defense reminds me of a young bunch of guys that are just really enjoying each other.
You got to have enthusiasm and want to play together,
Well,
and that's the key.
The comment that I heard was an interview with, and I'll finish on this, an interview with Myles Garrett. And they said, so Myles, would you have rather sacked the quarterback or would you have rather got him for a safety in the one play where he came out of the end zone? He said, are you kidding? He said, you get points on the board and get the ball back? Absolutely, that's what you want. I thought for a guy who's potentially one of the top defenders in the league,
Yeah.
basically told you my stats are whatever they are.
Yeah.
We need to win. When you get your leaders feeling like that,
Yeah.
that to me was a huge indicator.
It's amazing that one guy can change that entire program around, and
Oh.
then Schwartz has said that as a defensive coordinator.
Absolutely.
And the intangibles were there last year,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
you bring a guy in who hypes them up. They get loafs if they're not celebrating after every
Right.
play. It's amazing what he
Well,
has done.
and the other thing is management allowed him to get the kind of players they
The pieces
needed
of the
to
puzzles.
do what
Yep.
he needed to do.
Yeah.
And now the linebackers are freed up and they look great.
Yeah.
And the defensive backfield is
Yeah.
fantastic. So it's all good. And folks, it takes the whole thing to work, right? And so let's hope it works for you guys this
Yeah.
weekend.
Thank you.
All right, so just as we finish up, we had Josh Waring of St. Joe. We had Joe Wine and Gibsonburg Knight, Ryan Carter, Chad Long here with me to finish things up. So I want to remind you that Ross and Oregon Clay's on Eagle 99. Huron and Bellevue I'll have on 92 on the Wolf. Clyde at Tiffin Columbian on WTTF. Margaret at Calvert on WTTF. They've got a doubleheader there on Friday. And then Sandusky at Norwalk and Edison at Perkins. So for Shelby Rice, our studio engineer, and Nick Roth, our on-site engineer and producer, this is John Cullen saying good night, everybody, from Frickers in Fremont. Glad to be with you, and we look forward to having you join us again on another Wednesday night of our Frickers High School Coaches Show here live on Eagle 99. Good night, and God bless.
The Indians out now.
Huh?
Are they out of?
Yeah, they're out of it. So here's the
They
thing
got
with
eliminated
here's the thing
already.
with Cleveland.